Hi everyone, and welcome back to MUP Halo, the only Halo show that won't eat a burger on screen to show you how down to earth we are as a CEO. My name is Wiki Dave, as always, and with me is James-005. How you doing, James?
Good morning, dear listener. It is cold in my shed.
Now, unfortunately, Ash is a little bit under the weather. However, we managed to rope in a replacement at 1 a.m. his time. Shea from Forging Flashpoint. How are you doing, Shea?
I'm doing pretty good. You guys are also the only Halo podcast, Halo Flashpoint podcast, who has a member whose national bird, who lives in a country whose national bird is the kiwi. So
Shea only just discovered kiwis are from New Zealand, and he's very proud of that fact.
Yeah, I kind of pulled that one out of my butt when. I'm on the show last minute, and he asked me what I was doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm right down the street from you. I just saw a kiwi cross the road. Had no idea. So I just pulled that right out of my butt. That is New Zealand's national bird. So
yeah, there's 6 different kinds of kiwi, and we nearly changed our flag to a kiwi with laser eyes, but it got downvoted for some reason. Look up the laser kiwi flag. It's actually a legit thing when we tried to change a flag a few years ago. But anyway,
base level.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about obviously Halo Flashpoint, specifically the new Noble Team release. We're probably one of the last pods to actually release it, but release an episode on it. But we figured why not? Because it's the only time we ever do content is when there's actually content to talk about. So there's a few things here we want to go through. We're not going to talk about the nitty-gritty about how it's going to play and a lot of other things that could come in with it in terms of the meta. We're just going to straight talk about the releases because we tried to work it out just before. I think it's about 6 months since the last release. Have I got that right, boys? Or was it October is when we've got ODST, right?
Feels about right.
Yeah, it feels about right. Yeah. So it's been a long time. Since we've had any releases. So let's just talk about what we actually got told. So we've got, I should actually do the sound effect, but I haven't got it loaded on right now. There you go. There's the news.
Pretty good, actually.
What?
There we go. But yes, we've got the Noble Team trailer. They actually made a little custom trailer, which is, for those that weren't aware, it's actually a combination of the original Reach announced. I don't think it's an announcement trailer, but I think it's the pre-release trailer where you actually see the death of Noble 6, and which is why your character in the game comes along. That's this character blowing itself up. It's actually a legit character, and it's kind of spliced in with the new models. And we've got all of Noble Team. So we've got June, George, Emil, Kat. Who am I missing? Who's the last one? Carter. Yeah, Carter. And then you've got your unnamed character, who is B312. He's actually an in-law character, and that's who you actually are in the game. And I'm very surprised you actually get that as a playable character on the table. I think that's actually pretty cool that they've included just the default skin as well in the actual paint job. But on theory, you could paint in whatever color you played in Halo Reach. I've even got my Halo Reach game, for those that are looking at the YouTube. I've actually got my original one. I got the legendary one where you got that little diorama, but I couldn't pay rent once, so I got kicked out and forgot it.
The little diorama.
It's a massive one. I loved it. I love that piece. I'm really gutted I haven't got it anymore. But yeah, we got that. I mean, it's hard to say whether this is an expansion or whether it's a special release, because the box kind of implies it's a special issue kind of thing, but they also note it as being an expansion. The box looks like it's the same as our normal boxes that would get, that I've got them behind me, but I can't really tell. I think the normal boxes would be a little bit too big. So I'm thinking that this is actually a smaller box from a cosmetic point of view. But they're trying to sell it as it seems like they're trying to push it like it's an actual full expansion release.
Yeah, definitely reminds me of the boxes that Phoenix came in. Like it's a black box, which feels the same way, and those were like much thinner. They were also like much cheaper, like very like they could open if you shut them the wrong way. You know what I mean? But
this were the ones that came in Master Resin as well. I think that was the first Master Resin.
Yeah, and I guess the ones that I saw where like I purchased my Phoenix at the convention itself. So I probably had a different experience with the box than like a retail version that was actually coming into the store. That was probably much nicer quality.
No, I think they were pretty similar actually. I mean,
I think that was similar. I'm tempted to get mine out.
Phoenix was a special edition, right? And I think what's interesting is the special issue tag on this one. It is tagged special issue. Whether that's now just code for this is resin, this is a resin product, rather than that seems to be what they're kind of applying with that one. But yeah, it was sort of. Yeah, it was a thinner cardboard. Now, whether that's the case, we're gonna have to edit. We have to put a sticker over Dave's back.
Hey, I'm nothing. Don't point it.
Dave. Just stick your feet on the desk, and then we'll absolutely be raking it in on the Patreon.
This is HD. I've got a mission now. I have to find the box. So you guys keep riffing.
This is how you get the views for sure.
Exactly.
But the Phoenix models at least came in. It didn't really matter the box and the quality as much, or like the thickness of it, because they came in pieces, so they were very, very thin, much less likely to be crushed and like actually damaged. Which, if I had to assume, if it's the Mastercraft resin, probably the same thing. You'll probably have to glue them together, but they will come in probably little baggies and little pieces separated per model.
You would expect that, I don't think from the process with Mastercraft they'd be able to, because these are cast in a different way, right? So my assumption is, looking at them, I don't think, I hope to God, and I forget which one the sniper is, but you look at that rifle, that better be coming in its own piece, because if that otherwise it's going to be snapped to pieces. I forget who the sniper is, but
John.
Yeah,
the only one that lives. Funny enough, he's the only one that's still alive. He trains the Spartan 4s, I think.
But I think that rifle barrel, if that's coming as one piece, is going to be high risk, right? It's got to be resin wise. It's going to come in pieces. I mean, the Mastercraft resin stuff is just a better quality than the PVC or vinyl or whatever it is that they do the normal models in. So it's really good to see them getting a high quality sculpt. I think. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it.
It's just, I guess the question is this a once-off kind of deal, or are we just going to be getting this kind of quality going forward? I think that's because it sounds like they've kind of shifted that, especially with the Phoenix release, and everyone's like, these are much better quality, and we're stepping away from the original Recon or Spartan edition releases, and now we've gotten this, and then you also had Deer and Buck, and I think that was Master Resin as well. I can't remember. I think it was. So I mean, that's several releases in a row that we've got it. So I guess it's the question of going forward, is this more setting the precedent now that we're going to constantly get them, but also is this the reason why the cost is the way it is now? We'll discuss the cost after we kind of go through all the releases, but that is a little bit of a sticking point when this came out. It's the pricing is getting up there, and is this adding to that problem, and is it pushing out a few people as well because of that? I think that's the real question, because if we don't know the rules of these characters as well, but if we want to play them on the table, and especially play them at tournaments, you're going to actually have to buy them. So is it starting to feel like a little bit pay to win? I think that's some commentary I've had pop up with the fact of, like, if you can't afford this, can you still play them with other models? Or that's a discussion for another point.
Yeah, but isn't this hobby play to win? It's like pretty much any model. Yeah, like the gun.
But the is that it doesn't need to be. I mean, a lot of people. One of the big things is, well, I mean, that this is online with other price points of other games in the hobby, but it's like, well, that doesn't mean it's any less expensive, and it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be that way. And I think that's an excuse a lot of people to come up is like, well, it's about expensive as this game. It's like, well, they're still expensive. A car is still $1,000, like $10,000. Regardless of which make you get, it's still an expensive car. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult, right? There's different. Objectively, Flash, if you, and I think it depends what you're comparing it to, right? I think, if you compare it to most miniature games hobbies, and if that's where you want to take the comparison, and I'm not sure it's a totally fair comparison, but if you take it to most miniature game hobbies, this is cheaper, right? The ask to keep up with the meta is significantly smaller, like rules-wise. You're talking about 70 to 100 quid 3 times a year seems to be roughly what they're asking for us. Like £300 does not get you a lot. It certainly doesn't. £300 would not chase the meta in 40k, right, or in a number of these game systems. And I think if you look at the price of these models, you look at something like Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is a skirmish game where the producer pays a tax, in their case to Disney, in the case of Mantic, they're paying a tax to Microsoft for this. Their models are significantly more expensive than this. I think if you wanted 6 models for Marvel's Crisis Protocol, you're kind of, particularly for a new release, you're kind of talking about 120 rather than 70. So it is comparatively speaking cheaper than a lot of other things, but it is still expensive. And I think some of this is as much feel as it is real cost when you look at that box. I think the box being the same shape as the big boxes, and then when you look the price point being a lot closer to those boxes that come with boards and terrains and terrain and dice and tokens, this box suddenly looks really empty. And I think, like, weirdly, I wonder if they'd have done this as two boxes of 3 models each at 35. I reckon that actually might weirdly have felt better value than this one box for 70 quid of 7 models. But that could be me.
Yeah, I mean, we should state a few facts here for those that can't see what I'm looking at the moment. So looking at just the Noble Team expansion, it is £69. I have to say nice because it's 69. But that's... But what you get in that is you get all of Noble Team, so that you get 6 Master Resin figures. You also get 2 man cannons, and I think that's more to tie in with the big team battle maps. You also get the booklet. You also get the profile cards, and then you get 2 special order reference cards, which if you compare that to one of the other releases, and I don't actually have it on my screen, so I'm going to stall for time. I'm a little bit out of breath. This is why someone with a heart condition shouldn't do things. Anyway, if we go to the Disparate Measures expansion, you got, what's that? That's 6, 8. You got 8 figures. You got the booklet. You got the player and model cards, and you got the gameplay tokens. And that's only £40. So it's about £29 cheaper. You can do your own conversion with it, but ultimately you get less models. And I don't know, could you argue you get less stuff because you don't get the tokens either?
It feels like, I mean, and I think, again, different material, right? More expensive,
yeah,
more
it's hard
quality material. I think that the box looks like it feels empty or feels like it's empty because there's only the models, right? I mean, those man cannons, point of order, those don't look like man cannons to me. Someone's going to tell me that which version of the game they were man cannons from, but they don't.
They look like Halo Infinite man cannons.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That's why.
Yeah, so there's no air pushing out of it or anything. It's just like a conveyor belt that flings you.
Yeah, the air pushing out was like Halo 3, Halo Reach, kind of like Bungie era stuff. So yeah, that makes sense.
And but then, like, also, isn't that Halo? This is a Halo Reach product, right? So it's weird to the Infinite man cannons. But anyway, although they probably fit in the cube better. It probably makes a degree more sense on that level. But
true,
I think, like, the fact is, like, here's 2. Weirdly, like, the 2 man cannons make it feel more empty because it's like, well, have some man, here's your slop, as it were. Like, look, box isn't just 6 models; you also get man cannons. It's like, I feel like if there was a sheet of tokens in here and a couple of weapon cards, this would feel like more of a value proposition. Or if it was 2 boxes of 3, I think it's just it lands in a really weird place between the £100. Here is
it's like getting a
20.
It's like getting a small cookie when you're on a flight, and that they call that the in-flight meal. It's like it's not really. it's still technically you get something and it's like, oh cool, I get a cookie, but it definitely looks like a little bit. I think the only reason I did it is because of that bigger map. Even though, if you just got this, you couldn't actually play on the big map yet. Which we should actually scroll along to show the other release, because inside the Noble Team expansion, there are rules to big team battle it. And so they've announced the Reach Deluxe Gaming Mat, which, to be honest, looks pretty reachy. It looks like nice and pretty. And I've got the Banish one and the Outposts deluxe mats, and I love them. I think they're really good material, and it's definitely worth getting myself. And I think this is 8x16, if memory serves me right. Yep. So it's basically two mats. It's two mats put together. Big team battle kind of scenario. So I'm glad that they're going in that direction and really trying to please that side of the community that are asking for bigger battles. I know there's even today I saw Clive mention in the Discord that ghosts won't work, because they try and do a 1-for-1 kind of scale. So ghosts are just like more than one cube. So ghosts won't actually work in this kind of format of Halo Flashpoint, but it's good to know that they are trying to look at different ways of playing the game and bigger maps. So I'm actually excited to see how this evolves, this kind of concept evolve with the big team battle, and how the scenarios are actually built up. I'm thinking it's just going to be a straight case of you just use a bigger map, but I'm hoping the rules are unique enough to actually make the big team battles really feel a little bit different and very unique.
Yeah, so I look at this and I'm excited too, because I think this also shows that they're listening to fans, because people have been asking about bigger modes for a very long time. They want to play Blood Gulch, they want to play these bigger maps and see how that works. And so where I am very appreciative that they added something like this and they give you this option. When I look at Noble Team compared to the cost of this, Noble Team I can justify, like it's $90 from the United States. I can justify that price because we don't know what value yet that like it's going to have on the table. Like, some of these models could be the most powerful models in the game. You have all those customizable pieces. There's nothing stopping you from like taking the Spartan laser from Noble 6 and putting it on like your Gungnir, which is very popular, or like a sniper rifle on something. So you get like those options. I think it's $75. Now the US has tariffs. We love to hate them on a lot of our products. So our, costs are a little bit inflated because of that. But $75 is Noble Team. I can justify $90. This one is a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough to swallow $75 for a mat. But especially when you could put a couple of mats that you already have together. But yeah, premium quality. It's one piece. You just roll it right up, easy storage, and it looks great. Like it's probably their best looking map. Next to though,
and to be honest, you get a lot of satisfaction when you unroll a mat as well.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I just do that once in a while. Like, oh yeah, that feels good, and it just
lasts down forever nicely. Too. So
yeah, exactly. And I love my little catalog there, and I'm trying to play more with my nieces, and my nieces kind of love the option of like going, oh, well, what do you want to play on? They're looking at all these different options, and they can just pick a scenario, and I really like that feel. But I guess it's just I guess the question comes down: is it really worth it? I mean, you look at the price point here on the new Mombasa mat, which is another release that we should talk about. Which I'm glad they did release it, so it's just a mat version of what came with Feet First into Hell. I'm really happy they released it because I actually really like that kind of mat as well, and I need to add it to my personal collection. But yeah, if you look at the prices here, you're looking at £30 for the new Mombasa mat, and then you're looking at £49 for the deluxe mat. So it's not exactly a straight 2 times the cost of the regular mat. It is slightly cheaper, and I think it's just going to come down to, is it worth it? Is it going to be worth it? Because if you I guess you can still use it as a normal 8x8 mat if you wanted to at the end of the day. So yeah.
In my opinion, I say buy it, but get a couple of your buddies from your gaming store to pitch in for it, and then you guys can like have a free for all big team match on it or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, or split it with someone else. I think it's going to be essential to the experience. Like your friends are going to come over or like come to your game store and be like, how big can we get? It's kind of essential for that. But yeah, just grab a couple buddies pitch in, or just buy it yourself, I guess.
And again,
it is
disposable income.
Sorry. Yeah, I think it's really cool, and having those mats is really cool. I really like, I really like those. It is expensive for one of those mats as well, though. Like, I think I was just having a quick look. I think if you get, that's a 2x4 mat, right? For 50. I mean, a 4x4 mat, so twice as much mat, is about 40 quid in the UK. For like a generic mat, so it is a bit, it's £10 more than something twice the size for the mat. So again, I know they'll sell less of these because of the by the nature of the fact this is a product you don't need, and they'll have to pay the Microsoft tax because it's got IP associated with it. But it is a significant proposition. It's really cool, but it's a significant proposition in
it's more collectors than anything else.
Yeah,
it's more heading to the collectors. I like how you call licensing fees a tax.
Well, a percentage goes to, or what, I don't know what their deal is, right? But they're paying, they're paying a proportion of this money, not just themselves, but to the IP holder. We call it.
Bill Gates has done nothing wrong, right? So I'm sure he can use the money. Anyway, I guess we'll move on, and we'll move into the ODST. Scenery set, which you can actually get with the new releases as well. To be honest, I like it. I think these are, they're not that impressive. And to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed on how little you would actually get. I was hoping a few more pieces, but I mean they look cool. It's just the drop pod and a few turrets that you would normally see in ODST, and I do like it, but again, I'm a little bit disappointed on how much actually comes with it. It's only 5 pieces, and I'm assuming they'll be impressive once you get your hands on them, but I don't know. Again, it feels a little bit light in my opinion, and I think they're £25. £25 for them. What's that in New Zealand dollars? That's $56. I don't know how much that is in the USA.
It's $40
because they got $40. So I don't know. Am I right to say that? It feels.
I think you were right. There's not a lot that comes in there, but personally, I'm so geeked about this package. I am too. Don't get me wrong. I'm 100% going to buy this. Like $40 for me is like easy thing. I do think it's a little overcosted, but once again, the situation with tariffs. But I think at a $30, this would be an obvious choice. At a $40, it's like if you have the extra money, definitely get it. For me, it's obvious choice because I just love having the weapons on map, like models for weapons on map, and having turrets is just like the cherry on top. I think they look incredible. The scrap cannon is my favorite. I think that looks awesome. Yeah, maybe it just goes back to being a kid and playing action figures and like putting my Spartan right on that turret, being able to use it. It's just going to make the immersion way better for me.
Yeah, I'm imagining holding that missile turret. I remember that level where you have to hold off all the banshees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good though. I mean, that's at least that's something. I don't know. It still seems a bit pricey.
Yeah, I want another box with just the weapons, like all the other weapons that you can scatter on the map. So like Spartan laser, like assault rifle. It's a lot of weapons. I don't know if they would do that, but maybe like the power weapons, like the spanker, the fuel rod, like the sword. Give us those.
I can't believe at the scale of manufacturing Mantic have access to now that we couldn't have a box of conversion weapons and items at this stage. Like, it could be resin, it could be plastic, you know what I mean? But it certainly could be I struggle a little bit with like that could be a thing. And I really think that for the amount of opportunity that would. So one of the big challenges I think Halo has when it goes into kind of the miniature gaming space is there's not a lot of hobby to do, right? Because you're almost immediately into building terrain, right? Because there's not a lot of actual models to paint. and conversion from a lot of the material they've got, a lot of the sort of the vinyl or PVC material they've got is very, very difficult. You can do it, but it's painful because of how spongy the material is. For them to like actually do a set like that, I think would be incredibly useful to the community to give people the conversion options. I'm really surprised they've not got anywhere near giving you any spare parts or any kind of like access as a product to stuff. So it's great to see that element of it. I think that element is really great to see. I'm a bit, like you say, the price point on this does feel a bit like this is definitely a collector's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the tough one. It's heading into like a lot of these releases are just collector stuff, which kind of sucks because it just means you have to start picking and choosing what you want instead of just getting everything. You have to get a little bit more selective. But I think you're completely right on more customization options. I think we've reached that point where I think it's we should be starting to see some of that instead of just new releases, new stuff all the time. Maybe wind back the clock a little bit and go, how can we refine or make what's already there a little bit better, and what can we add there? But yeah. Anyway, we'll move on and just try and cover everything. So we've got, as we talked about before, we've got the release of the new Mombasa map, which I'm personally looking forward to. Hopefully, I'm going to get it. And also, we've got another special issue, which is Fireteam Wolf, which I believe is with the GT, was the GT figures, and you can actually buy them separately. Which again, I think the Master Resin, if memory serves me right. So these are on par with the Noble releases, and that's £45. So that's close to the. Yeah, they look amazing. And they're just based off the basic fire team you get with the Spartan edition and the Recon edition. But I think they look awesome. I like the flags, and yeah, I like them.
I've got these models. They're gorgeous. The flag.
Because you actually win tournaments, James. Just don't brag.
Well, I suspect the reason they're selling these is because they didn't sell. They've got a lot of them in the warehouse. So I suspect they've been quite handy with giving them away at events recently in terms of I think they've got quite a few of these in the warehouse with those GT kits. So I think they're cool. They're really cool. They're really fun to play. The detail on them is really great. So very much up for very much up for those. Very easy to convert as well. So probably one of the easiest conversions on there is the switching that Mark 7 with the flag to the Grav Hammer. Switching that out for the Grav Hammer. So that's a really nice conversion for what was old meta, but still really good. Getting a sword potentially into the hands of that brawler might be interesting as well. My top tip with the flag Mark 7 is don't put the gun on his back, and then you can play him as either version. They're really
cool looking figures. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just scrolling through here through the Mantic website, and the GT pack isn't there anymore. I know they're coming up with another version of it, but I think maybe you'd be a little bit right on that one. Yeah,
I've linked it in the chat. So there is a new GT pack they've announced, which doesn't seem to be on this page, which is weird to me.
No, which is weird. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
£75 for an organised play season book, which you get online. A load of sort of flyer, sort of achievement sheets, sticker sheet, all of that stuff. 3 lots of this is like the second wave plastic or acrylic tokens. I've got a set of those. They're really cool. So you can now have all of your, with one of those sets, you can have all of your weapon tokens as acrylics, which is nice for sort of hard wearing stuff. That's really cool. But there are 4 unique models in here.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Disappointing because this is only the 5th elite model that they've actually released, and unfortunately, it's tied in with the GT pack. So you have to kind of spend a lot of money to actually just get that one, especially if you're not a tournament player.
Yeah, in a world,
some of these models are good.
Yeah, in a world where they're supporting UNSC so much, to get only one new model definitely hurts a little bit on the Banish side. But as a collector, these are all great models. As a Banish player, yeah, it's an interesting. We're just waiting on new releases.
Somebody tells me you're going to have a better summer, though. I don't know. Somebody tells me you're going to have a very nice summer. The certainly on some of the hints we've seen.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
the rumors.
but you're not wrong. I mean, I think it's weird to gatekeep these into the organized play kit, given their unique weapons combinations. I'm assuming we're going to get rules and points for. I mean, you could tell what the rules are because that's a Gungnir with a spanker, right? There's only one Spartan with a jetpack. That's a Hazop with a jetpack and a needle rifle. Needle rifle? Yes, needle rifle.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's a pulse carbine on what I'm assuming is a special purpose trooper. Though depending on the points cost, I mean, I wouldn't give a Gungnir a spanker, so I won't worry about that one. But similarly, having the Hazop with a needle rifle is a weird combo because he's a shot 5 guy. But if he was cheap enough, that's actually not bad propositionally at all. I certainly wouldn't give an ODST special purpose trooper anything other than an optics weapon unless it was incredibly cheap, but which that isn't. But I don't know, an elite with with one of the best guns in the game seems pretty good. That concussion rifle is amazing. Sorry, go on, Shea.
No, good. Yeah, because other than the sticky grenades, the plasma grenades that they spawn with, there's no. Except the brute captain with the Hydra, there's no banished unit that starts with a frag weapon, and there's quite a few strong ones, or at least one strong one on the UNSC side. So this helps a lot. It really helps our team add frag. That is not limited use, that actually has a little bit more range to it.
Yeah.
I personally would like a little bit of clarity, though, because it sounds like the last GT unit, they're now offering these separately. I would like them to just come out and clarify whether they're going to be doing that going forward, because, I would love these models, but is the only way to get them is to either get this kit or, unfortunately, there's not a lot of tournaments where I am, so it's not exactly I can go and win it. Essentially, I would have to buy them separately. But if they're going to later down the line, every time they're offered in the GT unit, eventually going to be offering them separately, I would like a little bit of clarity whether that's actually going to happen, because it sounds like that's what happened to the last one. But is that just because they were overstocked and didn't sell as much, or is that just was always the plan and they're going to be doing that going forward?
Yeah, I don't want to spend £75 to get those 3 models and a bunch of stuff. I mean, you could probably sell you can mitigate it pretty reasonably probably by selling off those acrylic token sets. But the sort of that feels really weird. It feels really weird as a choice to go, let's, really, to be honest, if they bundled these in with Noble, that would have been. Does it say if they're resin? They must be resin, right? Because
I think the master. Master.
Yeah, they're resin. Yeah, the master resin. I mean,
this is where I struggle with Mantic is the clarity with these releases is always based off assumption and vagueness, and it feels like at this point they should have learned enough lessons to be a little more upfront of what their plan is. And I know they've mentioned in one of the articles they will be releasing a roadmap. I think we scroll right down to the bottom here. It says they're going to come back in a few weeks' time and give a roadmap. I'll give you an all idea of what's in the works. But I mean, at this point, they know what's coming up. Come on, let's just give it a little bit more clarity, because we spent 6 months from the last release wondering what's coming. Yes, we knew Reach was coming. I think it was the worst kept secret because Ronnie has a bit of a habit of saying a little bit too much on podcasts, and he's got a reputation of doing that, and we love him to death for that. But ultimately, I think we've reached a point with it. It should be knowing what's coming. Like this year, we should already know. We know grunts are on the way. I think that's something that's been dropped as well. I don't know. It just feels like there's always vagueness when it comes to announcements, and I just feel like at this point, it shouldn't be. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, unless they're saving it for like Adepticon, which is in a month. So maybe that's the few weeks that they're talking about. But when like the news, is kind of the biggest around this release, it might have benefited them to release that as Especially for banners players who are like, just give us something, give us some more, models. Here's your Halo Reach, box, but don't worry, because whatever's coming next in the summer, Grunts and Jackal, Hunters, cross my fingers, Banshee Shadows, Phantoms. Obviously.
Well, calm down, Shea. I know you're excited, but the chances they can't even get ghosts in the game, and let alone Banshees.
I was trying to work out. I was trying to work out in my head how much they charge us for a Masterclass resin Banshee
or
Wraith. Imagine a Wraith. God.
But I do have faith. I have faith that they'll sell this separately as just like a single box. I don't think, especially because they're unique, they have unique cards on them. I don't think they want that negativity around them to where they're never going to sell that. I'm personally a guy, I might be in the minority, who I love that there are unique items that you can only get in certain situations. Like if they made a UK specific model that you can only get like at a Mantic, at like a hobby store in the UK, I would love that, honestly. I'm happy for you guys to get it, as well as like other countries getting it, like a separate one. But I'm weird like that. I like being able to come to something with like a unique model that I've earned or that I've been at a certain location to get. It's just whether the unit cards is someone else getting an advantage because they won a tournament and they got this.
That's what worries me with the. And you're right. I mean, I agree with you. I don't mind like alternate sculpts, right? And I think that's it's always been that till now. I think what is odd is I'm looking at those models. Right? It would seem to me what you sort of those. I can't imagine that being a different model. I mean, you could always play it as, play that Gungnir as one of the existing Gungnirs and then attach a Spanker to them. But I mean, to me, those very much look like, a unique playable option that is now behind the paywall of that GT kit, right? And I think that's the bit where I think that's a little bit of a misstep. I mean, it just feels really weird.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you, because you know what this reminds me of? When Arkham City came out, and only GameStop in America got those unique missions for Catwoman, and you had to pre-order the game. I can't remember the exact mission because eventually they released it as a proper pack when Arkham City came out. But you had to go to GameStop to only get those missions. You couldn't get it anywhere else. And I'm in New Zealand. We don't have GameStop. We have eBay Games. We've recently shut down, but that's about it. So I don't really like the whole exclusivity of like only certain places can get them, because there's no chance, it'll lock out, fans like me. And I'm going to fight for the fan that doesn't have a place they can easily go to, or a huge, a huge hobby around it. I mean, no one around, I've looked as well, and there's not a lot of people that play Halo where I am. So it's very hard to go to tournaments to play, people to find people to play. So when this kind of thing comes up, it's more of a cost. I can't just go to a tournament and win. It's not something for me. So I'm very on the opposite side of the camp of as a collector, as someone that likes, I do like playing the game, but I also like collecting the hobby and painting the hobby. It does lock me out of certain things when that kind of stuff happens.
Well,
so just
listen, you guys have Kiwis over there. We don't. So at least you get that.
You've got bald eagles. I mean, that's
Yeah, I guess.
And what James has. The Tories. I mean, every country has its own unique weird animal. All right, so or reform, whatever one people don't like at the moment. I don't know what the politics are like over there. Anyway, but yeah, I get both sides of the equation, and I think it's just I think my point is it would be good at this point with us heading into year 2 to maybe do something a little bit different, get the clarity out a little bit more of what we can expect. Will we be able to get some of these models outside of some of the combos? And I don't know. And with cost being the way it is, it feels like if things are going to get more expensive, how about make the situation a little bit more clear of what we can actually buy going down the road as a customer? But I'm definitely more pro consumer than anything else.
Yeah, maybe that'll be in the roadmap. You never know.
And that's the thing.
It's hoping.
An announcement of a roadmap kind of just feels like an announcement of an announcement. I think they should just release. I don't understand why they're holding off on a roadmap, because the roadmap isn't to say this is definite. It's just to say this is the outlook. And I think James flicked me a good link beforehand of I don't know what Conflict 47 is. I'm assuming it's a James. You probably can explain what is Conflict 47.
This is, don't worry, listen, this is not where I pivot you to another game. This is just, we were talking about roadmap.
This is the example.
We started recording. So what's interesting is, so if you drive from Mantic HQ about 20 minutes, there is another wargaming company in Nottingham, which is not Games Workshop. And that is Warlord Games. Warlord are probably the biggest name in historical, particularly World War II. So you'll have heard of games like Bolt Action. They do historical games. They have recently re-released Conflict 47, which is not historical. It is a sort of an alternate weird war, sort of World War II game. So set in 1947, there are zombies and Nazi zombies and werewolves. There are armored walkers for the Commonwealth and the Americans, and various other things we don't have to get into because it's not of interest to this audience. But what was interesting is we talk about roadmap. This is the roadmap released in the last month by Warlord for their conflict game. And what I thought was interesting is this is a roadmap for just the plastic releases coming out for that game this year, not counting sort of their resin and metal offer. There's a sort of a real kind of like this is kind of a roadmap. Now, a roadmap doesn't need to be this full of stuff, right? Because different games, different scales, different number of units. I wouldn't expect a Halo roadmap to be this kind of chock full of stuff. But what is interesting is we could tell what's coming out in Q1, which will be this month. We could tell you what's coming out like in the next quarter. Some of it is, some of these are placeholder, like Commonwealth Hero, could be anything, right? I think we do know what that is, but Q3, United States Walker, could be any kind of walking mech for the United States, right? Soviet block infantry, could be any kind of, we don't know. So there's a lot of there's a lot of vagary, but sort of there's a lot of there's vague stuff on here, and the dates aren't precise, but it gives you a sense of where we're going. And I do think we'll benefit from that with Halo, particularly if we're going to have, it's going to be 4 or 5 months between releases. I praised Mantic in the past, and I'll continue to do so for sort of like they're not ramming a new box down our throats every month. This is a game where they're pacing their releases, but I do think it would help to go like, Q2. We can expect, a release of some, a big box release, and a new organized play scenario in Q3, new season, new organized play kit, big box release. You know what I mean? Something so we sort of could orientate ourselves where we are, and I think that would be helpful. So I don't want to spend a load of time on Warlord Games or Conflict 47 because that's not what our audience came for. But it was just interesting to contrast this with this is the roadmap for another game. With some of the vagary we get from Mantic around this game.
Yeah, and this is just a visual of I've got on the screen for those listening. You won't know what I'm looking at, but ultimately this is just a concept of what we could see. And I mean, it could be just a simple case of Banish releases Q3, something like that, to just show us some kind of guide. Because if we've got a bit more guide when they dump, especially with the prices as high as they are, people can start mapping out their budgets a little bit more and start planning it out if they know when certain things. So if next quarter is just going to be a Spartan release or a UNFC release, and so a Banish player is like, look, I'm not going to be quite interested in that. Yeah, I'll be interested to look at it. If they sell me on it, they sell me on it. But they could be, more budget towards Q3, which could be a massive Banish release, or even the Flood. I mean, they could go, all right, Q4 is we're going to release the Flood, and so you could pencil it on there. People will start getting the hype, and I think Mantic's not very good at building hype. And I think with this game, you've got so much potential of building hype, especially when you introduce new factions, new models. There's so much in the Halo universe that we have yet to explore on the table or with these models, that even just the sniff of Reach got people excited. But if you look at what officially was put on Mantic website, it was so vague of what was actually coming. And yes, we did get a little screenshot of the silhouettes in Reach, I think, in an article at the end of last year. But you could do so much more with that. And for the relationship, the reason why I feel okay using Warlord actually lent the Armada game for Mantic is actually based off the Warlord game. So they just kind of used their game system and just used their own skin on it. So they do actually have a good relationship with Warlord games. So ultimately, I do hope for something more like this, that we get a little bit more certainty of what's coming up, and I think especially in those dark times, this 6-month period we've had between releases, if we have something like this, it gets us a little bit more hyped about what's coming. And I think just announcing you're going to do a roadmap, it feels like it's a little bit of a half-assed way of actually releasing anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think once I see new faction on, like, the text new faction on a roadmap, it's gonna get me so hyped. But
Exactly.
so a few things that gets me excited about just seeing a roadmap and that they're doing a roadmap is, one, they're going to be showing us, or at least telling us, multiple releases. Well, before they only told us, like, oh, this one release is coming out at this time.
True. Yeah.
But it also tells us how well it's selling and how well the partnership is with Microsoft, because they are able to plan out that much. Because before it was kind of like, yeah, we're going to plan this one release, let's see how it does. Oh, it does well. Okay, now let's do ODSTs. Wow, it's our most sold one. Let's do this next one, etc. So their partnership with Microsoft has gotten, and their trust in them has gotten to the point where they can safely announce multiple release windows. And that confidence in the game makes me very happy and gets me very excited. So,
I saw a comment on Reddit, and when they announced the all this Reach stuff, one of the comments was, "Halo Flashpoint is the best thing about the Halo franchise at the moment." And that's a compliment in itself, for the fact of, James, you came from a non-huge Halo fan background. You still like Halo, but you weren't a massive fan. You're more about the gameplay, and you enjoy it. And Shea, you come from more of a Halo fan background, and you enjoy it. And it's really showing that Mantic have done something right here. They've made the game good. They've made the fandom pleased about what they're releasing at the moment. It's just a case of keeping both sides happy. It's a hard balance, but they seem to be doing a good job. So my criticism comes from just what I think they could do better, rather than detracting what they actually are doing now. So.
Yeah, and that's notable to say, because there's nothing really to complain about this game at all. It's almost like you have to nitpick the criticisms. And I might criticize, like, the Banished releases, but I know after seeing the 25-year anniversary Halo in that Halo Reach, the miniatures trailer, I know that was Microsoft had something to do with the Halo Reach release. Like, I'm sure Mantic would have wanted a next, like, after the ODSTs, the Banished release, but I know that the partnership and Microsoft, and as much as I have to, like, nitpick something, I understand, and, like, you can't get any cooler than Noble Team. Like, that, the cool factor is there. Like, no matter what, collectors are going to buy it. Old time Halo fans, Banished players are going to love this release too. So it's overall a win-win. I know why they did it, and I'm happy for it.
And a lot of people forget that the original fire teams that were in Halo Flashpoint was actually in for Halo Infinite. The logos were actually in Halo Infinite, the original Flashpoint teams. So they do have a really positive relationship. And with the new game coming out, I think it's the fifth, I don't know how many versions of a remake of the original game that's coming up, but that one's going to be coming out hopefully this year or next year. I'm hoping that their relationship gets even tighter, and we could get a new Master Chief sculpt or something tying in with the original game. So I do think it seems like the relationship's strong. I mean, at the end of the day, if both sides are making money, there's no argument there of that relationship. But it sounds like that they're on track. It's just a case of how can we keep this community excited for what's coming up, because games like this do die just because that's the nature. No game really stays around forever, unfortunately. How can we keep this rolling as long as we can? And doing releases right, getting people hyped up about releases is another way of keeping people interested, and also keeping that game solid. The more we introduce, the more that meta starts to waver a little bit, and That's the rules committee's job. Bring on Ash. That's why we've got Ash around. So Ash is part of that committee, and he's good to give a good insights of some of the drama they have there. Cool. So yeah, that's about all the news that we have so far. Now we are recording this on the 3rd of the 3rd, which Shay's a little bit behind in the daytime. Yeah, well, it's the 3rd now for you.
It is the 3rd.
Yeah, it's the 3rd. Yeah. So we do know they're going to release something on Friday. It sounds like Clive was working on some kind of big board or something, and we're going to get more of the rules of Noble Team. So by the time you're listening to this, you probably have more information about that than we do. But it's good to see that we are getting some good drops, and I'm rather excited. This is it looks like ships in April, so next month, and yeah. It's good to see releases. And yeah, what's your overall thoughts, you two? Before we go into some of the audience questions, there, we'll start with you, James. I think I surprised James. We'll go with you. There you go, James.
It's good to see more. I'm conscious of time. I'm going to go to work shortly. It's great to see more stuff coming out. It's really good to see. It's really good to see this. It'd be great to see a roadmap in a bit more detail as we go. But continue to push out quality product, I think, is really good. I'll be really interested to see the rules for these models and how this all comes together. So really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we'll do a breakdown here. Yeah, go Shea.
I would give this release. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. That's my
8.5. Nice. All right. Well, because James has to rush off, we'll quickly do a last question from the Gina, who put through a question asking, following the release of Noble Team, which will be your next dream releases for the game? We know Shea wants everything, but let's narrow it down to one specific thing that you would like added to the game, either from a gameplay point of view or just from a fan point of view. And we'll check it to you, Shea. What would you want?
Yeah, so I would love a kind of large scale narrative. This is kind of big picture, but a large scale narrative where it's kind of run by Mantic. We've seen a lot of community members put on these narrative kind of campaigns. I'd love to see that. I think they teased some co-op. I didn't read anything personally because I've been traveling a lot for tournaments, but they teased apparently some co-op. That's what I've been hearing from the community, or maybe there's rumors.
They tease a lot. They always tease a lot. Yeah,
but I would personally love a large scale UNSC versus Banished campaign where it tracks the wins. You just play with your friends. You record the wins, and it kind of makes this huge large scale narrative. That's my quick cliff note on that. I guess quick elevator pitch, but.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I haven't heard that one before. It's a good one. And James, what about you? What's your dream?
I think we've covered it before, right? I'd love to see the Flood come in. I'd love to see, I think what I guess, focus on. I think actually the big thing, if we're not going to talk about models and Flood, what my next big dream release is really alternate maps and sort of officially supported alternate terrain layouts, right? I think one other thing that potentially holds the game back a little bit is the absence of an ability to do a lot of hobby for this game, right? There's and again, that's not really the purpose of the game, but I would love to see just moving away from the standard sort of 4 shipping containers, 2 towers, 2 L shapes and scatter. I would love to see us sort of have some support for different layouts and sort of in an official way, because I think that would open up good-looking boards at tournaments more, and I think that will make a big difference actually to develop the curb appeal of this game in sort of gaming store environments. That'd be my kind of be my wish.
It's like diving into the customization that we were mentioning earlier, just a way of just making it stand out a little bit, giving that unique feel, and especially your own, and I know Mantic love this word, flavor to your force and your play style. And I think, you definitely, I mean, me personally, I would love to see them go outside of the mainstream games with books. I mean, the Cold Protocol is one of my favorites, and I'd love to see special sculpts of the Spartans that were in that book, but also insurrectionists. I think there will be an interesting faction. I'd just like them to I think they'll have a lot more freedom in terms of what they can actually do if they look outside the games. Because if you look inside the games, you always have to, like, Noble Team's a good example. They had to make those models look like the game. You know, they had to make those Spartans look like that. But if you go into the more of the book side of things, you have a little bit more freedom there. And there's so many areas of places as well in the Halo universe that isn't covered by the games, that doesn't have a defined visual representation, which you can bring into. Even if you look back with, you know, the Flood, ancient humans, and then the Forerunners, you could even go all the way back there if you wanted to, and make some really cool sculpts and models and of the Halo universe. You still follow the same kind of rule set. So I mean, that would be my personal dream of just branching out a little bit. And I think because we're ticking off boxes slowly, we've now ticked off Reach. You know, once we get Grunts, Jackals, and you get all the standard ones that we've always seen, I think what's going to be interesting, you know, when we're looking at the year 3, year 4, what we're going to get in that will be different than what we get now. Because it feels like right now we're just going to tick all the boxes of what people expect, and then we're going to enter in a new era of things that we might not expect, which will still be cool. I mean, it will open up a lot of doors, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah,
I believe in this ridiculous universe where, if you know anything about Halo Infinite, they create the Endless faction, which are called like the Zelenin, I think. But we see like a fully fleshed out Endless faction with new miniatures that were never in the game that are like newly introduced. It would never happen, but like, oh, new Zelenin, you know, species, whatever, warriors, and well,
there's more species of the Covenant that we don't know. That you see a lot in the game, but there's more Covenant, and I think there was that movie that came out with Halo 5, I think it was, that kind of dived into one of those species, and I think one of them was imprisoned, and they were trying to get more information from it. But I mean, even think about the Grunt Rebellion. I'd love for them to dive into more of that kind of era of the Covenant, where it's just Covenant versus each other. And you know, there's so many areas this could go, and I just hope this game survives long enough to start exploring that. And narrative will be a big portion of that. If they can really get a narrative kind of way of playing worked out, and people, you know, dive into more of that, of setting that up, you can, you know, get a group of friends together and actually play for a bit of a narrative campaign. I think that's going to give the game a little bit more legs outside of just the tournaments, because the tournaments is a good way of, you know, being competitive. It's good to get the game visually out there, but sometimes if you just want to play with your mates, sometimes just having a bit of that kind of fun was what brings you back every week. So
I agree.
Cool.
And
I can see, I can't wait.
Moas,
which are also a New Zealand bird, by the way.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it's a giant. Moas used to be like a giant thing that the Māori people sadly killed off, just because humanity likes just to kill off birds. It's just the way we like to do things. But yeah, Moas.
You're being serious. Okay,
I'm being serious. Yeah, Moas are actually. Wasn't all.
I really.
They're in Halo.
I'm sorry. I know. It's been great. We're back on the bird chat, and I've got to go to work. So
it's all right, you guys go. All good. Anyway, that's actually a good sign and a good way of ending the pod as well, because I could talk about Moas all day. There's several different species. Look it up on Wikipedia. But thanks everyone for listening. Thanks Shea for popping in last minute. It's been great. James is you know, I always had to go after work around this time, and it's the joys of time zone. So
I spent 30 minutes setting up my camera, so it's
all good. It's all fun. There's not a lot to talk about, and hopefully we'll be back in hopefully a couple of weeks to talk about some more. So if you got any questions for us, flick us a bell. More questions we get, more likely we'll hop on cameras and talk about more. Any gameplay discussions, any thoughts about Noble team and any future releases, just let us know, and we can all get on this and gas bag about it for a bit longer. So appreciate you all, and thanks for watching. Thanks. Bye.
See you guys.